The Nature of Personal Reality, a Seth book by Jane Roberts, read by Martin John. Dictation. Chapter 14. Which you, which world, your daily reality as the expression of specific probable events. That is all the heading. The brain can be called simply the physical counterpart of the mind. By means of the brain, the functions of the soul and intellect are connected with the body. Through the characteristics of the brain, events that are of non-physical origin become physically valid. There is a definite filtering and focusing effect at work, then. Practically speaking, you do indeed form the appearance that reality takes through your conscious beliefs. Those beliefs are used as screening and directing agents, separating certain non-physical probable events from others, and bringing them into three-dimensional actuality. Other probable events could just as well become physically experienced ones. Those beliefs about yourself form your own self-image and define your concepts of what is possible or not possible for you. You will choose from these non-physical probable events, therefore, only those you feel you are in accord with. Because of your psychological and psychic structure, there is within the rich makeup of your being a literally endless variety of what you may call probable selves. In one reality or another, these will all be experienced. In your present existence, however, you will utilize only those psychological characteristics that you believe you possess. So, you see, the personality cannot be defined as being thus and so. The physical constitution of the body follows your beliefs, and so all of its sense data will faithfully mirror the beliefs that direct its activity. In certain terms, hypnosis is simply an exercise in the alteration of beliefs, and only too clearly shows that sense experience follows expectations. The you that you presently conceive yourself to be represents the emergence into physical experience of but one probable state of your being, who then directs corporal life and frames and defines all sense data. When your ideas about yourself change, so does your experience. Even the intimate body experience alters. You may say that you are you, but which you are you? In the most personal terms, each individual creates his own world. The biological equipment of your creaturehood directs your mass experience enough so that agreement is reached, but only along certain general lines. The overall private experience that you perceive forms your world, period. But which world do you inhabit? For if you altered your beliefs and therefore your private sensations of reality, then that world, seemingly the only one, would also change. You do go through transformations of beliefs all the time, and your perception of the world is different. You seem to be, no longer, the person that you were. You are quite correct. You are not the person that you were, and your world has changed, and not just symbolically. Often you fall into lapses in which you actually pull in your consciousness, so to speak, and experience life in a lesser fashion. In such a state, you do not seem to experience yourself directly, and indeed, in the midst of what you think of as the waking state, you act in the most mechanical of fashions, following habit and being less aware of sensual stimuli. On such occasions, your beliefs usually lose their edge. The directions you give to your body are not clear, and the world seems fuzzy. This is often a time of deep unconscious activity, when new latent probable characteristics are biding their time, so to speak, waiting for emergence. In your terms, probable events are brought into actuality by utilizing the body's nerve structure through certain intensities of will or conscious belief. These beliefs obviously have another reality besides the one with which you are familiar. They attract and bring into being certain events instead of others. Therefore, they determine the entry of experienced events from an endless variety of probable ones. You seem to be at the center of your world, because for you, your world begins with that point of intersection where soul and physical consciousness meet. In surface terms, the sense of I that you possess is the result of constantly emerging probable identities, given continuity in time through the physical apparatus of the body with its built-in intervals of nerve reaction. You only remember the portion of your identity that is physically realized, those portions that are drawn into corporal pattern. This is the result of the focusing and yet limiting behavior of the physical brain. For effective survival behavior in your reality depends upon time reactions. The nerve pattern's activity therefore causes the illusion of a present in which your consciousness appears focused and alert. In certain terms, future events exist now, but they are too fast. They jump over the nerve endings too quickly, and physically you cannot perceive or experience them as yet. Impulses possess a far different reality than physicists or biologists suppose. As you think now, past is still occurring. The drag still leaps the synapses, but, again, is not physically recorded. Past events continue. Consciously, you only experience portions of events with your corporal structure, yet the structure itself records them. In such a way, the cells retain their memory, though you do not perceive it, and the body is aware of so-called future occurrences, though, as a rule, you do not consciously sense this. At other levels of psychic activity, however, such knowledge is also available to you, but only when you disconnect your experience from the time-activated neuronal structure. And this you can do through various alterations of consciousness, often quite spontaneously adopted. Many such states can give you a far greater direct experience with the nature of your non-corporal reality than any normally conscious questioning. Which you? Which world? You can to some extent discover for yourself the other probable yous that are a portion of your being. Future events are also your selection of probable ones. However, and many occurrences in which you are involved speed past you too quickly for your neuronal structure. These are not served up to you as your present. They represent your experience on other than physical levels. My dear friend Rupert has to some extent given an analogy of this in the first Oversoul 7 book, a novel. You perceive a certain event as present. Your beliefs give it entry through the nerve synapses and attract it. It then seems to become the past. You have only tuned into a portion of it physically, though. That past event continues to exist with its own future, which you may or may not perceive. According to probable action, you pull into your next experiences of actuality. The past does have its own past, present, and future, therefore. From a given past event, you will only materialize a particular future, but the event itself continues and possesses a dimensionality of its own, or rather a multidimensionality that you also possess. You can dip into cellular memory, for example. Using memory, you follow but one recognized sequence of remembered events backward. There are elements in your past that are as unpredictable, however, as the elements in your future now appear to be. There is creativity in your past waiting for you, even as there is in your future. But to utilize such experiences, you must learn to alter your beliefs and to some degree escape from the particular kind of limited conscious focus that you habitually use. The physical structure itself contains within it the necessary prerequisites for what you would call evolutions of consciousness, and even for, within certain limits, the organization of experience in ways that might seem quite alien to you now. These data can be organized in different fashions. Mechanisms and pathways exist, making it quite possible for you to see sound or hear color, although that is not your primary habit at this time. In certain terms, time intervals are jumped, as when a past smell or sight is suddenly perceived with present vividness, though you would say it has already occurred in the past. Under particular conditions, a memory may suddenly become more real than the event of the present moment, and so rush again into your current experience as validly as when it was first lived, and even seem to bolt out the occurrences of that moment. This could not happen if your physical structure did not have built-in mechanisms allowing it to, and if, under certain conditions, the normal intervals between the synapses of the nerve cells could be leaped in a different fashion. In the same way, a future experience may also be physically perceived in your present. Now, beneath your usual consciousness, your physical organism can react to future events without your knowledge, as it can to past ones. In such cases, the intensity of the initially non-physical event is enough to break through normal neuronal patterns. If you are aware of such a future episode, you will be forced to react to it as a conscious being. In any case, your temporal structure will respond whether or not you are aware of the reasons for such behavior. The future incident may then occur in its time sequence, and you recognize it through memory, in which case your reactions in that future present will be altered because of the seemingly past memory. In your terms, that event may never come to pass, however, because it may be arising from a probable past that was once your present, but from which you have diverged. This is one of the reasons why psychics' predictions often do not seem to bear out, for at every point you do indeed have the free will, through your beliefs, to alter your experience. Your beliefs form the pivot of your present experience. End of dictation. End of peace, light, and love. Aloha.